Changbin is more than speed, and I need everyone to realize that. Okay, it's time. Let's break down this flow of Changbin's Mirror Mirror rap. This is arguably the best flow I've ever seen him do because of the just absurd amount of changes throughout this thing. What you're looking at right now is the transcribed, visual, written out version of the flow from Changbin. And yeah, you can do this because at the end of the day, all flow is the rhythm of the syllables out of the rapper's mouth and at what point in time they say that word, and then you write it out like it's a rhythm. This isn't 100% accurate at the end of the day, so please take this with a grain of salt because I am not a professional transcriber. I tried my best. I might have a few notes here or there off just slightly, but for the most part, it's pretty much what Changbin is doing. And so I'm going to just explain to you what you're actually looking at before I get into why this is probably Changbin's best rap flow-wise. Not necessarily rhyme scheme, lyrics, and all that, because I never really got into all that. But at the end of the day, flow, this is probably his most complete verse ever, and I really, really like it. Okay, so let me show you guys how to read this at a basic level real quick, and so you know what I'm talking about when I'm breaking this down over the next however many minutes this video ends up being. So when you're looking at this, you see a bunch of different colors and notes and everything. You can ignore the colors, so let's just look at the notes that I'm zooming in on right here. So when you're looking at this bar right here, you see two groups of notes. You see the top ones that are like bubbles, and then you see the bottom ones that are X's. So for the purpose of me doing this, the bottom notes are his actual flow. That is almost every syllable that he has a different note on. And then that is the rhythm, his actual flow. What his flow is the bottom notes. And then the top is kind of the subflow. It's the undertone, the where he's accenting, the type of pulse he's trying to give his flow. So you can have the same flow at the end of the day at the bottom, give it a different pulse, and it sounds completely different, right? So there's two kind of variables to the flow here, and that's all you need to know. And then the colors I highlighted to show you the patterns, and basically which flows are the same and which ones are different. You can see it's super colorful because the cool thing about this shit, he doesn't ever repeat a flow for more than 2 bars. And even the ones that are 2 bars are still technically one flow that's just extended over another bar. It's so cool. Anyways, I'm going to break this down, so I hope you guys are ready. Let's get into this. So I'm going to flop up onto the screen right now Lisa's flow in her middle verse rap of La Lisa. Why am I bringing this up? Because I want something to compare this to without having to dive into another one of Changbin's flows, because honestly, I already had this transcribed, so it was easier than doing a whole nother transcription. But here's La Lisa's rap, and it's pretty good. It's one of Lisa's better raps. It's honestly like what you would normally see in K-pop. On a K-pop song, that is what you would normally see. There are 4 different colors. She changes the flow about 4 times. This is what she did in La Lisa's rap. And you compare this to what I just showed you with Changbin and Mirror Mirror, it's crazy. And it's not to put Lisa down at all. If you're a Lisa fan, please don't take this to heart. I am not putting Lisa down. I adore Lisa. She's one of my favorite rappers, like on a personal bias level. I adore Lisa's rapping. She sounds really good. But I wanted to show this to show you in comparison what Changbin's doing on this super advanced, complex level that I can only compare to people like RM and Cypher 2 and Bobby and like Rockstar and these insane K-pop rappers, and then, you know, even getting into K-hip-hop level raps. Like, this is a K-hip-hop level rap from Changbin. So I just wanted to give you guys some clarification and like comparison so you guys can like see like what you would normally see in a K-pop rap compared to what Changbin just did. So let's dive into the actual specifics of Changbin's Mirror Mirror rap, because that's what I wanted to focus on this video. I'm sorry it's taking me 5 minutes to get here, but let's actually get into this now. So I'm going to go kind of flow by flow and do my best to explain it, assuming that you don't know how to read music and that this isn't helping. Because if you know how to read music, you can kind of just see everything right now and know what's going on. So it's for those of you who don't know what you're looking at right now, and I'm going to try to explain this for. So looking at this, Changbin has 24 bars in this rap. In comparison, most K-pop verses end up being anywhere from 2 bars to 8 bars. Changbin is 24. That is like 3 K-pop verses in a row that you would hear in a K-pop song. So that's insane enough. But now, if you look at the different colors, there's 16 different flows Changbin is doing in here. If we look at the first 2 bars, listen to this. Okay, so do you hear how that's like a flow? It's all like right? It's all that that's the pattern, and that's what the colors mean. It's the similar pattern of notes. So some of them are repeated like that. Like for example, the next two, which is the orange ones, is another pattern of flow, and there's the flow change. It's like a bunch of off 16th beats, which is so cool. That's the first thing I want to point out, because the red flow is cool, by the way. It's cool. Not much to talk about. It's just a flow. Then he changes 2 bars into it. But then we get into that orange one, and the orange is really cool. He's doing these offbeat 16th notes. And so yeah, we're already 4 bars in. This would be like a normal flow that Changbin would have to do in like a normal K-pop. But now we're getting out of the K-pop realm and into K-hip-hop because we got another 20 bars to go through. So we have this green one that he actually repeats farther down below. And this green one is kind of similar to the first flow he did. It's kind of the same, but starts different. Now it's 1EN, 2EN, 3EN, 4EN. So it's the same idea, but flip-flopped. He also repeats this, by the way, down at measure 22. This similar 1EN, 2EN to 3EN to 4EN, right? It's kind of the same idea with that flow. And we can move on to the light blue now. And this might be my favorite. It's nothing too special. You just never hear this in K-pop. He literally goes 16th notes into triplets into 8th notes, back into 16th notes, and then into 8th notes again. And just randomly having those 2 triplets in there is so cool. Because like you think of triplets, you're used to hearing Lisa, who I just brought up, but like in As If It's Your Last going just consistent triplets, right? But Changbin flips the triplets in between the 16th notes and the 8th notes, and it sounds so cool as he's slowing down. So it's going 1E into 2E into 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 end. It's slowly going through with less and less notes. It's so cool to hear that. And I kept the blue going for the second measure in this because I feel like going back to the 16ths and the 8ths kind of completes this flow for me. It's not just 16ths mixed with triplets. There's also the 8th notes involved too. Now we can start talking about the cadence as we get into this pink one, which you can see he does repeat this type of flow 1 measure down. And the thing I want to concentrate here, it's similar to that green flow, by the way. It is very similar. However, we're getting into that hui part, right? We're getting into that hui section, and this is the first one he does hui in, I'm pretty sure. And the reason I did keep these all the same is because that high-pitched hui, that's just the delivery. Like, I feel like a lot of people will get fooled and just think that this part until like 5 measures from now is over. All of them's the same flow because he keeps going wee wee every like 3 bars. So no, that's just the delivery of him going wee, and I do adore that, by the way. But right here, look at the cadence. There's 3 beats in that cadence, and they're dotted quarter notes. And we'll get back to dotted notes in a second, later down the road. But these pink bars are dotted quarter note cadence. Ba, ba, ba. It's like a slow, held back triplet over top of 16th, 8th mixed. 16th notes, 8th notes mixed with a dotted quarter note over top of it. And that's something else you don't hear that often in K-pop rapping. Western rapping, you probably hear this all the time. K-hip-hop, you probably hear this quite often too. But K-pop? I rarely hear that kind of cadence. Let's continue this hui section because we have 2 more different types of flows that he did in here. And we have this really cool Badum section. I'm pretty sure everyone can remember what this sounds like because it's a very unique rhyme scheme, but I'm not even talking about the rhyme scheme. But the Badum, 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 Badum. Like, literally, I was doing the lyrics, but it basically sounded like that, right? It's this, like, very choppy 16th notes cut off, but not in the way that was offbeat before. Just like 1E, 2E into 3E, 4E into. It's so weird. And he has this really cool cadence on top of it that makes it like just so catchy to me. It's one of my favorite just one-off bars in this too. I think I just say every bar is my favorite in this because there's so many cool things he threw into this entire thing at once. Finally, in the Hui section, we have the more basic complement to the pink one that we just did, which is the purple looking one that he does repeat. And that purple flow is just the same thing as the pink. It's just 16ths mixed with eighths with a quarter note and 4, right? However, it's a different flow because he has a quarter note cadence instead of that dotted quarter note cadence. It's a different kind of flow because he's putting the emphasis on each quarter note rather than dotted quarter note. So it just brings it all together. That section's so unique and cool. I love it. But then guess what? He doesn't keep that going like most rappers would for the next 5 bars. Actually, 4 bars. He completely changes it up again to a yellow. This thing is crazy. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you're bored because you don't care about this, but man, he changes it up to this yellow flow that you see next, which I'll play for you first. So it still kind of sounds like that blue measure, right? In a way, it's those broken 16th notes, but he's starting to go on a 16th note run with some breaks in it. We'll get to the full 16th note runs in a second. Oh, he adds a different cadence onto this too. As a K-pop rapper, he is throwing in a dotted freaking 8th note in here, which is an 8th note, and then you wait 3/16ths before you hit another. It's so cool. And he just randomly throws that in over top of these broken 16th runs. And then that keeps going into the next bar, right? Where he does keep that same vibe. I think I messed up the written version of the cadence. It's the same vibe in the next thing. That's why I kept it yellow. And then he does some full 16th note runs, but they're not the same. It's not like he just goes 1 E into 2 E into 3 into 4 E into 1 E into 2 E into 3 into 4 E, what most rappers would do, and most fans would just go, oh my god, that's such good flow. Honestly, I would do that too. But he takes one step farther. In the first 16th note run, the gray version, he adds a freaking, like, it's like a 30-second note. I don't know if I have that 100% correct, but he adds like a bunch of little syllables in right there. And this is the fastest part of his rap, by the way. But he adds this little extra super fast part in right there. Just let me fanboy, okay? Because the rhythm of rapping is why I love rap so much. And then he follows that up with a consistent 16th note run that people would go, oh shit, that's so smooth. But he doesn't just keep it simple because he's Changbin and he's fucking amazing. He adds in a dotted 8th note cadence. So if the beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, his cadence, da, 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 da. It sounds off with my like clicking and with my scatting, but da, 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 da. It's so cool. I love that rhythm the most. Changbin just spoke to me there. I adore that. So that yellow to gray to light bluish part is probably the most popular, or one of the most popular because of how like smooth and 16th notey it is and fast. Because that is the fast part. But he isn't done there. Because then he gets into this pink, this light pink, this pastel pink, I guess, where he throws in a random other triplet. I don't know why. Again, most rappers, if they use triplets, they use them throughout their whole piece. But then he's just like, I want to throw a random triplet in before I go back into 16th notes. 1, 2 triplet, 3 into 4 into. So cool. He goes back into 16th note runs. Ends it on the and of 3, and then takes a freaking pickup on the and of 4 and goes into the final 6 bars, which are all different. So this next bar, it's basically the same flow as the green, right? But he goes back to a dotted quarter note. One of my favorites. I talked back in the pink. He goes back to a dotted quarter note. And it's, again, I said this in my other video. That's one of my favorite bars in this. 1 and a 2 E and 3 E and a 4 and a. Right? It makes it sound way different than it is. So it's the same flow, like I mentioned, as the green bars, but the cadence is different. And then he goes into some more simple stuff. The first time he's consistently doing 8th notes in this entire piece is freaking measures 20 and 21. Again, let me show you Lisa's thing real quick. She utilizes 8th notes throughout the majority of this rap. a lot of rappers like utilizing eighth notes, which is all more power to them. But Changbin only uses them at measures 20 and 21 in a majority sense. However, it's still different because the first one's chopped eighth notes, 1 and 2, 3 and N. And then the following measures consistent flow eighth notes, like of eighth note run, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 N. And then we get into the final three measures, which all are various quarter note pulses. So the cadence is kind of all basically the same after this, but we just have broken 16th notes. And then finally, the final two measures, we have a mix between eighth notes and that 2EN. I guess it'll be 3EN, but that mix of an eighth note with the 16th note chop. And then he finally ends it with a pretty simple eighth note into 16th notes. 1 and 2EN to 3EN to 4. On this almost 20-minute journey, I just wanted to go through this. Flow is my favorite thing in rap. I know everyone freaks out about lyrics or rhyme scheme or wordplay and everything, but man, what a rapper can do with a rhythm is crazy to me and will forever last as probably my favorite part of rap. And I think this is easily Changbin's best flow. I'm not going to play the full thing for you. You guys heard it piece by piece. Go check out the original video if you want to hear this in action, but this is Changbin's flow in Mirror Mirror. I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown. Let me know how I can do better at this next time, because it's my first time doing it and I'm rambling quite a bit. But I wanted to go measure by measure and break it down what he's actually doing on each thing so you guys can visually see a written version of how Changbin raps. And this is probably his best flow he's ever done. And what a way to fucking show it off, man. Thank you all for joining me on this. If you want to see some more breakdowns and analyses like this, be sure to give us a like, share this with all the stays you know, because this takes a lot of time to do. The transcribing takes hours. I'm not the professional transcriber, as I mentioned, and making and editing this video takes a long time too. So if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. It'd mean the world to me. Leave a comment down below and share this with all the stays that you know, and like to show off how good Changbin is, because he is more than speed. Changbin is more than speed, and I need everyone to realize that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, K-pop and chill the safe way.
보답을 너네 모두 꺼주시오 한국말로 하자니 어색하네요 스타일도 바꿨지 이제 내랑 비교 마시오 나한테 내속 이런 거 처음 해보지요 영화 빼고 말해 내 피부 노란색 그래 앞에 번호 8이잖아 빨리 전화해 네가 아는 여자애들 싹 다 불러 오늘 밤은 불지를 거니까 폰을 꺼두기로 해.